Spartan, hero, Marine. This is the story behind the armor. They didn't choose Master Chief because he was special, they chose him because he was compatible. Compatible with pain, compatible with loss, and ultimately compatible with becoming something no child should ever be. John 117 wasn't trained to be a hero, he was engineered to survive what humanity couldn't. To understand the legend, you have to understand the decisions that created him. And that decision begins with a 6-year-old boy named John. Before humanity even encountered alien life, it was already fighting itself. Human expansion created distance, distance created resentment, and resentment turned into rebellion. Outer colonies felt abandoned by Earth, governments fractured, insurrections rose, bombings, assassinations, civil unrest. The UNSC, humanity's unified military command, didn't need symbols, it needed control. The Spartan-II Program was not created to save humanity from extinction, it was created to quietly end human rebellion. Heroes inspire, weapons suppress, and for what the UNSC wanted to do, ordinary soldiers were not enough. John 117 was born in the year 2511 on the colony world of Adramanus II. At the age of 6, he was abducted by ONI, humanity's Black Operations Intelligence Division, as part of Dr. Catherine Halsey's Spartan-II Program, a secret initiative designed to create super soldiers. 75 children were taken, each replaced with a flash clone, an unstable genetic copy designed to fail. Most of them did. This wasn't negligence, it was strategy. Delay long enough for questions to stop being asked. The children were taken to Reach. There they were trained relentlessly, not taught how to live, but how to obey, adapt, and endure. They learned tactics before empathy, survival before morality. Then came augmentations. Chemical, skeletal, neural, procedures so extreme that nearly half of the candidates were crippled or killed. John, however, survived, not because he was the strongest, but because he learned faster than everyone else. The Spartans didn't return to normal life, they didn't reconnect with family, they didn't reintegrate into society, they became isolated assets. Every relationship was professional, every emotion managed, every failure was internalized. There wasn't accidental. The Spartan-II program didn't just reshape bodies, it reshaped identity. By the time the war began, these children didn't know who they were without their mission, and that made them very effective. It also made them disposable. John didn't stand out through dominance, he stood out through consistency. Even as a child he understood positioning, formations, team dynamics. Other Spartans were exceptional fighters, John was a stabilizer. He didn't overpower his peers, he coordinated them. In simulations, John adapted faster, recovered quicker, and made fewer emotional decisions. Dr. Halsey noticed this early. In a program designated to erase individuality, John became a reference point. Not a rebel, not a questioner, a leader. This is why he became one of history's most remembered. John 117 wasn't a name, it was a designation, a removal of identity to reduce individuality and created efficiency. But something went wrong. John didn't lose his humanity, he compartmentalized it, and that made him very dangerous. Not to enemies, but to the system that had built him. MJOLNIR armor wasn't just protection, it was amplification. Without Spartan augmentations, it would tear the human body apart. The armor responded directly to neural impulses. Thought became motion, reaction becomes instinct, but the system was incomplete. That's where Cortana comes to the story. An advanced artificial intelligence assigned to John. Cortana wasn't just tactical support, she was cognitive balance. She processed what John suppressed, questioned what he accepted, not to undermine him, but to complete the system. Soldier, armor, AI, all operating as one. If you're enjoying this deep dive and want more character-focused gaming stories like this, consider subscribing. There's a lot more to explore. The Covenant, a vast religious alliance of alien species, didn't invade humanity. They declared it hearsay. Driven by faith, the Covenant believed the Forerunners, an ancient, extinct alien civilization, were gods, and humanity was an abhorrent to the belief. To the Covenant, humanity wasn't an enemy, humanity was a mistake. Reach fell, billions died. John wasn't deployed to win, he was deployed to delay the extinction. That delay leads to Installation 04 Halo. At first it looks like a super weapon. It isn't. Halo is a containment system designated not to defeat an enemy, but to starve one. The enemy's the Flood. The Flood aren't a species, they're a galaxy-level parasitic intelligence. They absorb memories, strategies, and identities from everything they consume. They don't conquer territory, they conquer history. Every civilization they consume becomes part of a collective memory that never forgets failure. At the center is a Flood called the Gravemind, a collective intelligence formed from everything that it has consumed. It doesn't threaten, it reminds that this has happened before and it will always end the same way. The Forerunners were the most advanced civilization the galaxy had ever known. They didn't lose to the Flood because they were weak, they lost because there was no ethical solution left. The Halo array was their final choice, not victory, mercy. They chose extinction over infinite suffering. This is where Master Chief becomes something different. He stands on the ruin of absolute logic and flat out refuses it, not because he has a better option, but because he believes that one must exist. The Forerunners chose certainty, whereas Chief chooses persistence. He believes that their belief is irrational. The war didn't end cleanly. There was no victory parade, no moment where everything made sense again. For Master Chief, survival didn't mean closure. It meant continuation. He outlived the war he was built for. That matters because Spartans weren't designed for peace. They were built for conflicts with end dates, clear enemies, clear objectives, but the galaxy didn't stop changing. Chief becomes something quite rare after the war, a relic, but not an obsolete one. He's a soldier trained for extinction level events, now operating in a universe full of moral ambiguity. No clear lines, no absolute threats, just consequences. This creates a quiet tension in his character. John doesn't struggle with identity the way civilians do. He struggles with relevance. He knows how to fight, he knows how to endure, but he was never taught how to exist without a mission. That's not trauma in the traditional sense, it's displacement. Master Chief doesn't ask why he keeps going. He asks what happens if he doesn't. And that's the difference. Other Spartans were leaders, others were technicians, some were stronger. But most of them didn't survive long enough to become symbols. John did. Not because he avoided losses, but because he absorbed it. Every fallen Spartan narrowed his focus. Every failed world reinforced restraint. He didn't become reckless, he became precise. This is why Master Chief rarely speaks about the past. Not because he doesn't remember it, but because remembering doesn't change the outcome. Action does. As time passes, the armor becomes heavier, not physically but symbolically. The helmet stops being equipment and starts becoming expectation. To civilians, he's reassurance. To soldiers, he's a rallying point. To command, he's a solution. But to John, it's just what he puts on next. This is where the myth and the man finally diverge. The legend can't stop. Master Chief isn't haunted by the people he couldn't save. He's defined by the fact that saving them was never enough. The galaxy keeps demanding more, and he keeps answering. That's the cost of becoming a symbol. You stop belonging to yourself. Chief doesn't fight because he believes the war will end. He fights because stopping would mean acknowledging that everything he endured had a finish line, and that's something he's never been given. So when Master Chief keeps moving forward, it isn't hope, it's commitment, not to victory but to responsibility. That's why he still works as a character decades later, not because he evolves dramatically, but because the world keeps changing around him and he will remain. Cortana gave John something the Spartan program never did, a voice that questioned orders, presence that acknowledges choice. She wasn't just an AI, she was a mirror. When Cortana fractures, something else breaks. The illusion, the Master Chief is emotionless. Loss isn't new to him, but this one's personal. For the first time, the mission doesn't come first. Master Chief endures because he represents something rare. Duty without reward. Strength without spectacle. He isn't a god. He isn't a myth. He's a human shaped by unethical decisions who chose to protect others anyway. That is why he still matters. Not because he wins, but because he refuses to stop standing. And hey, if you want more deep dives into the characters and stories that shaped gaming, don't forget to subscribe and let me know in the comments who we should do next.